Suave.
I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mentor. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different road, changed relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly.
Now, it's crazy, bro, because, when you do content and you do social media, you don't see a lot of people. And for athletes, we're used to seeing a lot of people all the time involved in their life. I think it's your friend, Trey. I talked to Trey.
Oh, Trey Fields?
Yeah,
that's like my brother, bro.
Yeah, good dude. Great, because I love his content, bro.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah, great.
I think I talked to him like 2 weeks ago before the new year. And he was like, I think you're the first creator I've ever heard say he's an extrovert. I'm like, yes, I am. Like, bro, I don't like by myself. Like, I don't like it, but.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast. As always, I'm your host, Andrew Robinson. Before we introduce our incredible guest for today, I'm going to stop you guys right now and tell you guys to go ahead and click that link, man. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. It goes a long, long way about, spreading the good gospel of the What's in Your Bag podcast. If you're hearing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, make sure you give us a 5-star rating. Again, tell a friend, give us some feedback. You know what I mean? We like comments, engagement, all that good stuff, man. This is going to be my guy, Pull Up Tay, on the intro. It's going to be him on the outro as well, man. Make sure you guys are streaming his music. One of the hottest up-and-coming artists out of the DMV. But now we got all that jazz out of the way. Without further ado, guys, we are pleased to be joined on the podcast today by somebody who is truly inspiring, man. Somebody who I had a chance to meet, over at All-Star Weekend, man, and I feel like we obviously connected, right away. But since then, I've been able to, follow your content, man, and I feel like the whole world has been able to follow your content as well, man, and become inspired, motivated, and captivated by everything that you've been doing, man. So we are pleased to be joined on the podcast, by none other than Norense Odiase, man, my brother. Thanks for joining us today.
Bro. Love, bro. I thank you for, one, the invite, and thank you for the opportunity to just hear what you got going with this. I think it's powerful whenever you can transition to other things and you're focused, and obviously you take a lot of pride in what you do, but sharing stories and giving hope to other athletes, it's inspiring. It's crazy because you don't even know who you're impacting just by you trying. This is the genesis of what you will become, and so it's a great to be a part of it.
Nah, for sure, brother, man. I couldn't echo that enough, man. I think that's one of the reasons why I was really inspired to be able to have this conversation with you. Because one thing I enjoy doing nowadays is speaking to athletes, man, and just being able to tell our story. You know what I mean? As far as going from hooping, to that next part of your career, man. So I'm excited to get into that. We're going to get into your story, man. But before, man, we got to rewind a little bit because I feel like the elephant in the room for today, man, is you're a twin. And I don't know if you knew this, but I'm a twin as well, man. I have an identical twin brother, 4 minutes apart. But you also have older sisters who are twins. That is nuts. I didn't know what's going on in your genes, man. Twins must got like twins. Do they run in your family? Do y'all just spawn like 2 sets of twins? You gotta talk to me about that a little bit, man.
It's crazy, bro, because people ask that, but all I can dumb it down to is my mom. She says she prayed for it. She's a Nigerian woman, very in her word, she prayed for it. She wanted twins, and so 2 sets of twins, like you said, they're 4 years older than me. Me and my brother are 4 minutes apart. My older sisters are 8 minutes apart.
That's crazy.
My brother, he's a doctor in San Antonio, and my sisters, one is in finance, one works creative in businesses as well. But no, it's definitely a blessing, and it's interesting though. Whenever I meet other twins, I personally, in my story, I ramble a lot, so listeners, you'll have to forgive me. But in my story, my brother didn't play basketball, and no other person in my house played sports, and so it's only me. So they did, and in Nigerian household, it's like, read your books. You must excel in your books.
You'll be a doctor or a lawyer.
Exactly. There you go. You nailed it. But it's either that or, this kid, he's playing sports. He's an athlete. I was the oddball out, and so I'm interested, because you being a twin, and you're close with your brother, I guess. what is it like? I can imagine you guys played together and you're still very close. I always wanted that. I dreamed of that. I never had that.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Bro, I'm glad you asked that, man, because I feel like we are inseparable. We grew up together, man. Like we was like this, thick as thieves, man, and like it was amazing being able to. We went to college, like literally, like first 4 years at Quinnipiac, played together. He literally grad transferred to Coppin State. I was gonna go to Bryant in Rhode Island, so we're like, all right, bro, this is the end of the road, man. It's been real. Lo and behold, God had other plans. I ended up decommitting and ended up committing to Coppin later on. So we ended up finishing our 5th year together. So we played all 5 years of college together, bro. And then the first time we ever separated was when I went overseas. So that was kind of like, yo, like I don't got broski with me no more. This is nuts. And I really went through like an identity crisis for real. But I'm curious to know if kind of you relate to this as well, because me and my brother, it's like, though we're very similar, like we just they played the Lakers. My brother's a coach for the Cavaliers. They came out here for New Year's and played the Lakers. And like I came down to the court, whatever, that hold up, bro. And like all his teammates, Tristan Thompson, Darius Garland, they're like, yo, we know you had a twin, you were just alike. And like we sound the same too, so they was tweaking. And it's like we've been apart for so long, as far as like I've been playing overseas now for like 3 or 4 years. So I kind of forget, and I got locks. He doesn't have hair, so I kind of forget how like identical we still are. You know what I mean? And then we're also very different too. Like I pledged a historically black fraternity. He was on the lacrosse hockey wave in college, like doing, all of this. Like so we're still very different, and we have our different interests. I'm more into like creativity, fashion, content creation. He's more like, hey bro, I'm a hoop. I'm sticking to this hoops. I'm a coach. Like, so we still have kind of our differences, but like as far as growing up, basketball, it was like, yo, we thick as thieves. You ain't seen one without the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, bro. I think that's amazing that you're able to play with him for that long, like, bro. And I think what you just said about your identity crisis when you separated away from him. In my story, it's interesting how there's parallels to. Okay, I played Texas Tech my senior year. We went to the Final Four, and for Texas Tech, it was our first time we won the Big 12 championship, and it was a big deal. And I go from there. I play with the Suns G League. I was on a E10 in the Suns G League. Then COVID happens. Then I go overseas, and I play with a Broza Bamberg. And here's a time where that was during the bubble, and the Suns didn't take nobody from the G League to the bubble, and people were in just flux.
Yep.
But I had the opportunity to go to a big money club in Germany, and it's interesting because that was a time where it was the most money I've ever seen. Nice house, nice living, and if you go to Germany, it looks just like here. But when COVID came, along with my situation with my coach, which we can talk about, it made it so challenging. I'm saying all that to say, it's funny when you're miles and miles away from everything that you knew, you have to search and look into you. You actually have to figure out. I used to remember going online, going on my phone and looking, oh, these people are 9 hours away and they're having fun, and they think I'm just having it because they know I'm in this house and everything, but I'm sinking in silence over here. Yeah. And I experienced prejudice with a coach and everything. But long story short, it's interesting what you just said there, because I think our stories can parallel with a lot of people. Whenever you're faced with a transitional period, you really got to look into you and like figure out who you are for you and what you stand on. So, yeah. Yeah,
not for sure, bro. And I'm already excited about this conversation, man, because you're saying so much and just light bulbs are going off in my head, man. So I'm definitely excited, man. But I want to touch on this since you just brought it up, man. I got to get into this a little bit because Texas Tech, obviously, you guys went to the first national championship in school history. I remember watching, I was watching that, obviously, as a fan, March Madness, you know what I mean? We all watched March Madness as hoopers. I remember the Final Four, watching that Auburn and Virginia game. Kyle Guy makes that crazy three. You're like, yo, this is nuts, like, to beat Auburn. Obviously, that game, you guys went to overtime, against UVA in the Natty Chip. So I just want to talk to you, man, about just that run that year. Obviously, you were a starter on that team, man. Got a chance to obviously play a big role. And obviously, you were at Texas Tech for, 5 years, including the redshirt year, I'm pretty sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what was that like, man, to have that just culminate that season, that run? Like, what do you remember about that game? You know what I mean?
Man, it's funny. Because I'm still big in Lubbock, and I go back, and I'm privileged enough to build social capital there to where I'm somebody in the community. But when I go back and these questions come up, it's funny because I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't smell the roses. I was so locked into what we're doing. I was the captain of our team, a senior, fifth-year guy, like you said. In my sophomore year, I broke my left foot, fourth metatarsal. I got a new coach the next year, and then I broke the right foot, fourth metatarsal, same area.
Sheesh.
I'm saying that because I didn't enjoy the time that we're in. Everybody tells me about, man, like, remember when we were in Minnesota and there was a sea of red, because as Red Raiders, we travel. And I can remember this vividly. Like, I think there was 2 hotels. And in one hotel, it was us and the other team. The other hotel was us and Virginia. When Auburn and whoever left, it was just us and the other team, hotel against hotel. And before our game, before the Natty, there's a sea of red. I remember looking down from my hotel room. There's a sea of red, people going crazy. It was like a movie, bro. It was weird. And I have my headphones on, and I'm just like focused. I'm not like, oh my God. I'm just like, okay, it's time. And then you go and you play the game, and credit to coach, because we had open practices. And in these open practices, before them, coach would tell us, like, smell the roses now, take it in, because when it's game time, I don't want you to be pissing down your pants. Like, it's game time.
Yeah.
And we played in the TD Bank. I think it was not TD Bank, but it was the Minnesota Vikings where they play.
Yep.
And so it was like 72,000 plus. It was a big deal. And so getting us prepared for that moment with the open practices, with the whole smell the roses theme, kind of got everybody prepared. This is a different story, but my coach always tells this. We played Michigan State to go to the final game. And before we played the Michigan State game, I was on 10. Like, I was tweaking, basically, because long story short, I was a leader of the team, and I told coach that we should take all the phones before the road games.
Oh, you told him that.
Yeah. There's an article in the Times about it. It's crazy.
I know your teammates ain't like that. I know they ain't like that.
Yeah, bro, but, man, hey, I feel like I'm jumping around everywhere, but I'll give you a good context of what we had going. The year before, Keenan Evans, Zach Smith, and Justin Gray, they came in with me my freshman year. And so we make it to the Elite Eight, and we lose to Villanova, which had Mikal Bridges, Eric Pascal, Dante DiVincenzo, Amari Spellman.
Yep.
Like, they was a dream team.
Loaded.
We lost to them. And Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
We lost to them. And after that loss, we lost all our guys. And I'm coming back. I'm like, bro, like, everybody leaving. The boys that I came in with leaving. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so I was really focused on, okay, this is the year we're going to win the Big 12 championship. We had all these transfer come in, and so I'm locked in. Early in that season, we go to the Garden. We play Duke, and that Duke team, if those that don't remember, it's the team that they said at the time that can beat. Well, your brother probably wasn't there, but the Cavaliers at that time, they were like, this team was Zion, RJ,
Derek, Cam Reddish.
They said they could beat the Cavaliers. Long story short, we play them. And we lose. We're up the whole game, but we lose by single digits. And they tell this story, Tech and the people that were there, they tell this story a lot, because as soon as I walk in, I'm going crazy, like screaming at everybody, because we had way too many turnovers. And basically the message from me screaming is, don't be happy to be here. We're supposed to be here. This is our year. We already know who we are. We let it go.
Yeah.
And so coach comes in, and we just break it out. He's like, he said what we need to say. We go to Christmas break. As soon as we can't come back, we're on the mission, win the Big 12, win the Big 12, win the Big 12. We play Iowa State, and I think we lose. We lose at home, I think. And that was the Tyrese Halliburton. There's another kid from Chicago was on that team. And we had some issues where some guys – I think went out. And, there's always these fringe guys that went out. After that, I was like, nope. Take the phones, everything.
Yeah.
We go on an unreal run. We
Yep.
win like 9 straight, and we go on a run all the way to the tournament. But I'm saying all that to say I was so focused, bro. So when you ask the question about the Final Four and did I enjoy it, I didn't enjoy it. But when it comes to the game, I can remember the game like it was yesterday. I haven't watched the game still because it's crazy. But the final moments of the game, we were up, what was it? We were up by 3 with like seconds to go. And I had got fouled. I made 2 free throws to put us up 3.
Yeah.
And so the next play, I think it was Ty Jerome. He comes down. He's coming off a ball screen. And I'm telling you, like, we watched film on how Ty Jerome, he'll lackadaisical, and then he'll pull up from 3. And so I'm like, okay, this is not happening. I'm going to play up close on him. A 2 does not beat us.
Right.
A 2 does not beat us. And so he's coming down. He's dribbling all slow, like methodical. And then here comes a ball screen. And I'm like, okay, I'm on his hip. I don't care if you get a 2. You can drive. Get a 2. And so he drives. He's in the paint, going up. We overhelp. He hits the corner. DeAndre Hunter, bang, hits a 3, ties the game. And we didn't make the shot. We go into overtime and we lose. And so there's so many stories and so many ways I can spin that. But what I remember about that time is just being able to come with a dream, come with a mission to finally make and do things that at the time a school in Texas has never done is be in the championship game. And just how it galvanized the community and people all over the country, all over the world, because I still get the whole Texas Tech thing. It was cool to be a representation for my school in that way. But I didn't enjoy it, and sometimes I wish I would, but I can't watch the game, bro. I'm not going back to watch that game.
Yeah, that's the tough one, man. I feel like just thinking about it, it's like, you're seconds away, like literally, like you could feel the trophy right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it just slips away. So I see you kind of already answered my next question, but I was gonna ask. I feel like I've always dreamed of, like, you know, us mid-major folks. You know, we didn't get to experience all this, you know, high major glory and Final Fours and whatnot. I was gonna say, man, I feel like going to the Final Four, first time in school history, campus had to be rocking. Like, I know campus was popping. Did y'all get to go back to school after the Final Four? Or obviously after you win the Elite Eight? Did you guys go back to school before you left to go to the Final Four? Or
Yeah, you know, did we?
Or did y'all go?
We did.
I feel like it's a different week. It's like a whole nother week. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. Yeah, man, you asked some good questions because I haven't thought about this in a while. And you're right, because after school you get so next.
Yeah.
You don't even reflect on the things. I don't reflect. That's my issue. But to be honest, no, we went back, and it was crazy. When we beat Gonzaga, and this was a Gonzaga team with Rui Hachimura and Josh Perkins and just some good guys on that team. And we beat them, bro. We have this street called Broadway, and it's like the major bars scene in the almost like adjacent to Lubbock, adjacent to Texas Tech. And like, bro, they were like burning them lime scooters. They were going crazy. Like, it was crazy, bro. And so when we went back, we pull up in the big bus or whatever from the airport, and there's like people with their phones, like late night, like it was nuts, like crazy. And so at the time, I was a 5th-year senior, and so I didn't attend classes. I was doing like this business certificate. So I didn't experience it on I got to go to class the next day. No. But, and it's crazy because I talk to the guys on the team now. I'm like, why don't y'all go to the games? Like, bro, like I would like that love, but that's a different thing. But not everything. Like, and that's why I wanted to go to Lubbock in Texas Tech, because that school, it's like you're the Super Bowl. You are the stars. And so I can't even express how much the coverage was leading up to the Final Four and leading up to the final game. Now, it was amazing, bro.
That's incredible. What was it like playing for Chris Beard? Because I feel like from afar, he seems super intense. You know what I mean? And obviously, I think Tubby was there before him, right? It was
Yep,
Tubby
yep,
Smith.
yep.
Yeah, because one of my homies actually went to Texas Tech. I don't think he was there when you were there, but his name was
Really?
Devin Thomas. He was left-handed point guard.
Of course I know Dev.
Yeah, that's my dog. He's from
Dev
Maryland.
look funny.
Yeah,
Dev funny.
Yeah, that's my
Dev's-
dog. Were y'all teammates or
Okay,
he was there
nah.
before you?
Nah, we was there together.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Nah, bro, Beard, tough, but I love Beard, and I still talk to him. Like, I literally was with him this summer at T.J. Shannon, his draft party. But playing for Beard, I would say going in, I went to a prep school in Miami, in Florida area, Delray Beach, Florida, because my last year, my brother, actually in 2013, my brother went to Tech, and I didn't have any high major offers, and I bet on myself. I'm like, okay, I went to an all-guard school in high school. I didn't get the ball. Like, I'm better than what I have. Let me bet on myself and go to a prep school. I did the prep school year, and it was crazy, bro. It was like a month out from signing day, and I have no offers. And basically, I thought the prep school would be the one, okay, showcasing your talent. It was one day I was in one of my boys' rooms. We had these like kind of dorm rooms, and we were just thinking like, bro, like we came out here. He came from Dallas area too, and we don't have the offers we want. We don't have the exposure. We thought it was going to be this, and then he was like, bro, you know, upstairs they got the film room. Why don't we just pull the clips, make a tape, and then just send it out? And so now that I think of it, I think that was the genesis of this whole content thing. But
crazy.
We literally go upstairs, we pull our clips, and we get detailed with it. Like if you look on my YouTube, it's like I have like diving on the floor. I have like all types of plays on there, and we go through the high major schools, and we're like, okay, who needs a big, who needs a wing, and we send it, bro. We send it. I remember sending a bunch of emails to all assistant coaches all over the country. It's crazy. Like hours later, the next morning, I'm getting ping, ping, ping from everywhere. Bro, and Tubby Smith, next thing you know, Tubby Smith's in the gym like 2 days later, and the coach is like, oh, look at it. I said, that was not you. You better stop that. Long story short,
that's crazy work.
I ended up getting offers from Washington, Georgia, every school in Texas except for Texas. But long story short, that's how I ended up there. I don't even remember the question that you asked.
About Chris Beard. Yeah.
But yeah, when I went in with Tubby Smith, and he left my sophomore year to go to Memphis, Chris Beard came in. I just remember, you know, for those that know Tubby, he's a like a family-oriented coach. We was always at his house on Sundays. Miss Donna used to make us food. Like, I felt, okay, like, dang, I'm in West Texas, you know, with not my people. I felt like my people was there.
Yep.
And so when they left, it was weird having a coach. One, he was single at the time. He was real brash. He don't care. He gonna chat. And so I'm like, and so there was some friction there because we're both almost like the same type of mentality. But the year my first practice with him, I actually got hurt. And just the idea of him pouring into me, he really helped me with leadership, bro. Like, I read all these books and I got to watch. And that's when Devin was on the team, where I was not the best leader that I could be. I remember I was it was almost like when you have a teammate not playing and he's telling you to do this, do this, do this. It's almost like a coach. And he's like, bro, I didn't ask for that.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to build the relationships actually with these players so I can see eye to eye with them. Long story short, that relationship formed after we kind of respected each other on how we communicated. But, bro, he was tough, he was aggressive, and he changed my life because he made me, one, the man I am, like in terms of leadership. My daddy and God made me the man I am. But in terms of leadership on the court and speaking, he really helped me with that. And I personally think there needs to be more coaches like him because he's such a winner and he's so locked into what he's doing. So to answer your question, it was amazing playing with him and playing for him, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
That's awesome. Now I want to ask you about something that obviously took place throughout while you were in college that I feel like I can relate to a little bit, and not to try to compare like trauma or anything like that, but I know obviously you experienced a great loss. I believe it was, you said your cousins passed away, you know, while you were in college, and kind of like they were on the way to see you play, which I know is completely like devastating, man. And I ended up losing my mother my sophomore year when I was in college, and that was like November. You know what I mean? And it was crazy because it's like middle of the season. I think we had played like 2 games. Obviously, you go home, for the funeral and stuff like that, and it's like, dang, like, where do I go from here? Do I go back to school? Like, do I stay here with my family and my siblings? And it was just, a crazy time, man, to deal with that in the middle of the basketball season. And for you, I was like, I wanted to ask you, man, like, from outside looking in, I've been able to kind of just see how you present yourself, man, and you're kind of this beacon of, positivity, man, and your content uplifts so many people. And I feel like people ask me that all the time. It's like, yo, man, like, how are you, you lost your mom, man, and you lost your dad, your parents aren't alive. Like, how you always so positive and so this and so that? And I'm like, man, God, man, like, there's always somebody that has it worse, and I feel like God has, blessed me in so many ways to kind of keep me going. But my question to you more so is like, when you experienced that tragedy, obviously, like, walk me through how you took that. You know what I mean? How you kind of were able to cope with that. Did you find out like before the game? Did they kind of tell you after the game? And then since then, like, how have you been able to kind of process it and continue to be this person who's inspiring and positive and uplifting, man? Just despite experiencing that.
Man, I had no idea about your story, bro. Thank you for telling me that. Man, you see, bro, in life, you never know what somebody goes through, man. Thank you for sharing that. I think, obviously we're having a conversation, but that is so true. Like, you're able to be a light to other people in such trauma and such pain. And even when you ask me these things, I'm sure people ask you, it's like you remember what you've been telling people, but you don't process it. You just say it. But then if you stop and think about it, it's insane, bro. And to answer your question, bro, my senior year, I mentioned playing at Madison Square Garden. And at Madison Square Garden, one of my cousins that lived in New York, he came to watch me play. And one of my other cousins from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, he came there. And so it was funny because I mentioned we have twins in our family. 9/14/95 is when my birthday is. And the 2 cousins at the game, one was born 9/8/95 and the other was born 9/9/95. So we all call ourselves the September boys.
Yeah.
And so we're like brothers. And so we had that moment at MSG, and Texas Tech Faithful was there. We went out. Like, they called me out after the game. We had that winter break to where, okay, go do your thing. And so my family members got to kind of mesh with the Texas Tech crowd and those things. Fast forward to the Baylor game. It was the week of Valentine's Day. And this is a week where personally my cousin, he's coming from Boston at the time, New York, to watch one of his friends play at Baylor. His name's Mekhi Mason. And I'm like, okay, finally you get to watch me and him play at once. Okay, it makes sense. And this is also a big weekend because I've been telling him about this girlfriend I had that I guess for me, I never said, oh, you're my girlfriend, because I was so locked in. I'm like, you don't even need a title. She need a title. Her friends need a title. I'm like, bro, you already know what time it is. Like, we don't,
Right, yeah.
But that week was a week where he was supposed to, okay, yeah, I approve, whatever, and then it was going to be official. So for me personally, it was a big week, and for our team, we played Baylor. It was a chance for an opportunity to where we say, okay, if we beat them, we have a clear shot at actually going on to eventually win the Big 12. And so he comes, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm in my girl's house, and this is like 2 days before Valentine's Day. I'm in my girl's house, and she had went back home to Midland, and I made her like 2 cheesecakes. I got her an Apple TV, all these things, basically for a Valentine's gift. And then right after, I go to the airport and picked up my cousin. So when I picked up my cousin on the way back to my place, I called my other cousin. Now, it's not the other cousin that was in New York, but his younger brother, who also went to Texas Tech. And so I say, okay, OT's in town. If you want to come over, we should hang out. Like, it would be dope.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I have some homework. We'll see each other later. And we went. I ended up going back to my place with my cousins, showed him. All my roommates met him. He left his stuff in my room. And then we end up going out to this place called Mesquite's. And so we're at this place called Mesquite's. It's a bar. And it's almost like parallel to New York. Like, he sees some of the people that he saw in New York, and he's like, hey, like that type of moment. And it was a great night. And coming to like 11:30, I'm like, bro, I got workouts. I think I had a massage or something early in the morning too. I was like, bro, I gotta go. But I felt clear and okay to leave him with people he's already hung out with anyways.
Yep.
And so I remember just walking to the door and saying, okay, here's my address. If you need anything, call me. If you need an Uber, call me. And the next day, bro, I woke up and I just did days like normal. I didn't hear from him, but okay, I went to training table. I went to go work out. Long story short, it gets to like 3 p.m. and I don't hear from him. And sometimes I beat myself up because I'm like, why didn't I think of it earlier? Like, bro, you didn't hear from him. That's crazy. I remember checking my location, checking his location, and his location was by my cousin that lived in Lubbock's house. It's kind of by it, like not in it, but like kind of around it. So I'm like, okay, cool. And so now when I check again at 3, I'm literally going down the stairs, going to practice, about to put on my practice clothes and everything. Somebody calls me from Instagram. And so I look at my Instagram, I'm like, okay, that's weird. And it was one of my cousin's friends that goes to Texas Tech, and he's like, have you seen Sosa? One was OT, one was named Sosa. Have you seen Sosa? Have you seen Sosa? I was like, no. And so after I got off that phone call, I looked at the location again, and the location said Lubbock Police Department. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Like, I'm thinking last night was crazy. I'm going to have to bail him out, something. Because the reason why I didn't hit him up is like, okay, somebody comes from out of town. He doesn't hit you up. He probably with a girl. He probably, did his thing.
Right.
And so it's different when I see Lubbock Police Department. So I turn, I drop everything. I'm racing. I get in the car and I'm racing on the way. And when I'm on the freeway, my cousin that is the older brother of the cousin that went to Texas Tech, the one that was also in Madison Square Garden, his name is Bosa, the one that he's born 9/9/14. He calls me and he tells me, he's like, Sosa and OT, they died. They got hit by an 18-wheeler. And bro, even saying it now, it's like, it's not that I brush over it, but not going quick, but it's like, it still doesn't make sense. And I'm going crazy. I'm like mad at myself. I'm like, you idiot. I'm mad. And I pull up to the Lubbock Police Department. All my cousin's friends come in. They hear the news. They crying one after one. I get into the detective's office, and I get on the phone with my mom. And it's weird, bro, because when I get on the phone with my mom, she's like in relief. Like, she's like, because I guess somehow they said everybody, all 3 of us didn't make it. And she's like in relief. And I'm like mad that she's in relief. It was so weird.
Yeah.
After that, bro, I'm talking to people all over the world because my cousin OT, his father was the governor of a state in Nigeria. And he's like well-renowned. He's known. And so I'm getting calls from everywhere and press. And I'm like, long story short, I remember just sitting in my room and watching people come in and out and not caring about anything. I'm just numb. And fast forward, I play the game in Baylor, but all that to say that whole run, and it goes back to the first question that you asked me, how did it feel? I can tell you that people say those 2 free throws that I made, oh, I made it for my cousin, and you're probably thinking about my cousin. Honestly, bro, it would be a movie moment if I was thinking like that. I was just numb, bro. Like, I didn't care about anything, and I think the people around me, and obviously God, but the people around me was able to help me in that kind of moment. But it's crazy how you have a parallel, because you brought up things that I have not even thought about, like about the funeral during the season. Yeah, it was all of that. Like, they had a funeral when we played TCU. I have not even thought about some of these things. So it's in the way that it can be refreshing to talk to somebody that actually has experienced this, because it was it's something that I've never experienced before. And so I think after that moment, I was really suppressing everything, and I threw myself back into the game. And this kind of goes like the story of my life. Earlier in my life, when I was 6 to 8, I was sexually assaulted by older women in my life. And it made me feel less than. It made me feel like I was insignificant, unworthy. And so the whole reason I picked up basketball, I picked up this orange ball because I looked at the people in Fort Worth, Texas that, oh, they love hoopers? I'm a hoop. I was this African, big gap, funny shaped head person before, but now that I play this game, y'all like me. I'm a cool guy now. And so I threw myself into that, bro, and I found myself working long nights and being the leader of different teams. And yeah, it's admirable on one end, but on the other end, it's like you're doing that to be something. And instead of, I don't want to judge myself, but in that time I didn't have time to process. I was just like, okay, next. I ended it with my girl, and I just suppressed, and I kept going. I think it finally came up in Germany, bro, when I couldn't suppress anymore, and I had to look at myself and say, okay, who am I outside of this game? When I can't achieve, when I can't push, and pry, man, who are you actually? And that's where the faith part comes in. So when you say after you deal with traumatic experiences and how are you able to be a light for other people, it's because you and I remember what it actually feels like to be in a hole, bro, to be down, to be numb, to be you played basketball. I've been with girls and all these different places. Nothing matters. Yeah. When real life hits you, nothing matters. Nothing at all matters. And that's why it's a privilege for me to be on platforms to speak on Christ, because he's the only one, the only man that can transform me from the inside out, man, and have you seeing things with a new and clear perspective to where, for me, I'm from the city, and if somebody put me on, I'm trying to put other people on. Yeah. I was put on. I remember in Germany, bro, I was in tears. I'm like there was a 30-day period I was away from the team, and this team, Rosa Bamberg, they had a first-year coach, and the first-year coach in a big money club in Europe, it's like, okay, he has a lot of pressure on him. And so I got hurt. I tore my hamstring. And before I tore my hamstring, it was all kiki with the agent, everything good, everything going smooth. As soon as I got hurt, it was a different story. Basically, my agent sums it down to him trying to get the weakest link out because he didn't want to have to pay me if he can get somebody else in. And so I tore my hamstring. This was during COVID. I was in the hospital with a concussion, all these different things. And early, midday, and late, I would come to the gym first in, first out. And it's not just, everybody says that. Like, he literally agreed, because I was like, bro, what's up with you? Like, I'm literally the first one here, the last one out. He's just like, yeah, you're right, all these things. Long story short, he was just trying to get me out of there. And there was some prejudice. He was like, we don't wear do-rags in Europe, all these things. And I remember being in my room, and I'm looking at this 3-story nice place that I have and everything, but nothing matters. And I'm just in a period where, okay, what can I do? I'm all the way in Germany, different house, different language. People, my neighbors are now cussing me out in German because I'm in here shadow boxing and hooping, trying to stay in shape. Crazy. And my mom, she sends me a sermon. And, bro, this sermon, it was about the Battle of the Mind by Fred Price. And just something that obviously the Holy Spirit told him to say and that I heard, it just clicked. And I don't know, it's almost like I try to remember exactly what he says so I can be able to, as I have content, share it. And that's just a sidebar. Anybody that wants to do content, if you're in a dark time, it works. That's your advantage. So as much as you can document that. But anyway, because I try to remember, I don't know exactly what he said, but he said something that just had me in tears, bro. And I remember every morning. It was crazy because I think it was your video, and you did like a worship video. And I'm like, bro, this is so me in Germany, bro. Every single morning, till this day, bro. After that moment, I left Rosa Bamberg and I went to Jena. It was a different area, second-tier league, but they were with the opportunity to go to the first tier the next year. And I got a pay raise, and God worked everything out. But I say that to say, I was in a hotel because it was during COVID in Germany. They would come to your door and say, okay, you can't leave or we're going to serve you this paper. I was in this hotel and I would play like Hillsong in the morning and cry and be in tears. And 2 days ago, I listened to one of the songs. It was Rain. And it just made me, like, obviously I tear up a lot, but I'm just like, bro, this is Germany. This is Germany. Those times you never forget.
Man.
And so I'm saying all of that to say, bro, God was able to transform me from the inside out, have me seeing differently. And from the content standpoint, that's why I'm so adamant about pouring into people, because there's people like you and me probably going through a time that they can't even articulate and that other people won't see. You just see, oh, this guy's grinding, he's cool. You don't know what he's been through. You don't know that he had to go through this during season. You don't know all the effects that come after. You don't know.
Man.
And so that's why I'm so big on having these conversations. And yeah, man, it's good to talk about it with somebody who actually gets it. So thank you for asking the question, bro.
Nah, no doubt, bro. And first of all, man, I just want to say for you, man, like I said, thank you for sharing that, because I know that it's hard to talk about loss, you know what I mean, especially when it's something that's that close to you, you know what I mean? I'm still at the point where it's like my mom passed away 2016, my pops passed away 2015, and it's like I'll be scrolling through my camera roll and I'll see pictures. I'll scroll real quick. So like I don't even look at it. It's just like keep scroll. I don't even want to like I have it, and I don't even know if I ever get to that point where I can like look at pictures like of my mom or videos and really like sit there without just busting out into tears. And like sometimes I'll allow it to happen and just sit in it and like I'll sit with my emotions. But it's just like, man, I relate to you so much as far as, and I appreciate you for sharing that, because I know it's hard, man, and I think there's so many people who will be inspired by hearing that. But I feel like it's also, man, it's like I laugh because, bro, me and you have a crazy, I'm hearing so many parallels, man, because I was literally, the video that you're talking about, I made that video when I was in Japan, but like, I felt the time that I feel like really changed my life. And I grew up in church, bro. Like, as you know, you grew up in Nigeria. My folks was Southern, black folks. We all grew up in D.C., but I grew up in church since I came out the womb. Like, I got baptized when I was like, I think 12 years old, you know what I mean? Like, But I feel like, you go to college, you play basketball, and I kind of strayed away from it just because, you're not going to church all the time. You're not close to the campfire. You got games, practice. You fall into the ways of the world and partying and whatever. And it's like, I remember I went through a breakup of, my college girlfriend who we were together for like 6 years. And like when I was in Portugal, like that was when I really like God like really broke me down. And it was the same thing, man. I listened to this sermon while I was in Portugal. I was going through a breakup. It was, I was without my brother. Costa Rica was the first time I was without my twin brother, but Portugal, he came to visit me when I was there. So Portugal was like the first extended period of time where like I hadn't seen him. I was going through some stuff with the coach. I wasn't playing. Like, I felt like my life was just crashing down. But on the outside, it was like I'm living my best life. I'm posting. I'm in Portugal. Blah, blah, blah. But inside, I was like I was crumbling. And man, I told this story a couple times on the podcast, man. But I want to share it with you because I feel like it relates to the things that you just said, man. But I remember I was in Portugal, man. I was down, and I was like I heard this sermon. It was called "Here Is Holy." It was by Transformation Church, Mike Todd down there in Oklahoma, and it was like I was so concerned about like not playing like my career, like dang, where am I going next year? Like, my stats, like how am I gonna level up my career and get to what's next? Man, I can't wait to leave Portugal. I can't wait to get out of here, yo. James, my agent, where we going next? Like, we gotta figure something out. And it's like I was so concerned about, all right, then you be going through a breakup, man. Like, all right, man, we gotta get back on the dating scene, man. Like, what's going on, man? All right, what's your next partner? Like, how you? And it was just like, yo, here is holy. Like, here is holy. That whole sermon, it was a 4-part series, and it was the title of it was Here is Holy. And it was just about, yo, like, you're so concerned about what's next. You're so concerned about what your next move is, what your next relationship is, like what your next big thing in your life is. God is trying to show you something right here where you are, that if you miss it here, where I'm trying to take you, you're going to crash and burn, because where I'm trying to take you in your life, you got this podcast going, right, Drew? And God's like, yo, yeah, you're trying to be a media personality. You're trying to be a big-time pro athlete. Well, you have a problem with lust. So this lust problem that you have, you can't bring that to where I'm trying to bring you because I have my kingdom daughter for you. And if you part of that with this wife I'm trying to bring you, it's going to crash and burn. So now I'm not going to give you this relationship. Oh, you have an issue with pride, right? So this pride issue that you have in this season of your life in Portugal, if you bring that pride with you to this next chapter of your life, I can't bless you. And you're going to fumble this blessing that I have for you. And when I tell you that like changed my life, man, because I just stopped focusing on what's next. And I was like, all right, what lesson are you trying to teach me now, God? What lesson are you trying to teach me right here in Portugal where I'm not playing, where I don't have my twin, where I'm going through a breakup, I don't have mom and dad to call, you by yourself. What lesson are you teaching me right now, God? And I had to sit with that. And that has been a sermon that has never, ever left me. You know what I mean? I feel like since then, I'm still kind of on that grind of trying to figure out where I'm going in life and what's my next move. And like, dang, God, like, when am I going to experience that breakthrough? And I always catch myself like, skirt. Here is holy. Like, where you are right now is holy. Like, instead of asking what's next, ask yourself, all right, God, like, what are you trying to teach me today? Like, how are you trying to posture my heart to not fumble the blessing that you have for me in the next chapter? You know what I mean? And it's like, I just relate to that so much when you're talking about just being in Germany. And like, I feel like the most self-reflection and self-growth has been when I've been overseas and isolated and by myself. Bro. And you have no choice but to just turn to Jesus and be like, God, like, carry me through this.
Bro, thank you. I wrote down two things that you said. You said, what next? And what are you trying to teach me today? That is so good because it's like, that's for me right now. And it's such a great reminder that, you know, we go through these different things, but I think as athletes, you're primed for that. You're like, okay, we played next. And when you're away from that and there's mundane and you're like, bro, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not achieving. I don't see numbers. We're kind of groomed to look at stats and the next, how can I improve? Oh, I can do this. And it's so cool that you said pride because that's something that's for me. I don't want to work with nobody. It's me. And it's like, if you know that God gave you a vision, this is totally different, but God gave you a vision and God placed something on your heart. It's disrespectful to the vision that God gave you to think that he only gave it to you, that you can do it by yourself. That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
If it's such a big gift, it's not only yours. And so you spoke to me in a lot of ways there, bro. And it's just I don't know, I'm curious to know how do you remind yourself to be patient then? Because you're wired differently. And when you get in these spaces with media, personality, and all these things, and you're in LA, and you know, some people are hard to work with because they don't have that edge, they don't have that drive. You have the drive, and you see people. Maybe it's not that you're comparing yourself, but you're inspired. But you see, bro, this person, I could do that now.
Yeah.
How can you? Because I struggle with patience, bro. I struggle with that bad, dude.
Yeah.
So how do you do it?
Man, that's a great question, and I feel like the I'm gonna give the short answer, then I'm gonna kind of really get into it. But the short answer is, I feel like I'm still working on it, and I'm still working through it, and God is still working on me to be, you know, more patient, you know. But I feel like when I think about that question, a lot of times it's just going back to, at the end of the day, I know that God is a God of abundance, you know, and he wants us to have everything that we desire and that he desires, you know, for us. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, it's like, okay, well, I know that God has this promise for me. I just have to catch up to where he is. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, I feel like if I don't have what I feel like God has for me, if I feel like I have these goals and I haven't reached them yet, it's like, okay, well, clearly God is still working on me. Clearly I still have some things inside of me that I need to work out until God can deliver that to me. You know what I mean? So I feel like for me, I've just been like, all right, Drew, like, be honest with yourself. Like, take inventory. Like, what are you still struggling with? Like, what are some things that you still have to work on? You know what I mean? And I feel like, if I'm being honest, I think one of those things that I do have to just check myself on is, it's so easy to fall into comparison and looking at other people and say, oh, well, they have this, and why don't I have this, and this and that. And I think, you know, we attach so much value to things and job or status, or you're doing this in life, so you must be doing well. And I think right now, what God is trying to teach me is, and this is literally like I'm like ministering as I'm thinking about this, because this is like an ongoing process for me. But it's like I think what God is trying to tell me in this season is like, yo, like, you know that song. I love Maverick City music, elevation worship.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a song called Jireh. It's like Jireh, you are enough, and it's like God is enough. Like you, like this doesn't validate you. This job doesn't validate you. Like this position doesn't validate you. Like you having this amount of followers on social media doesn't validate you. Like you need to fix your eyes on me. And one of Trey, I gotta like give him a lot of credit for this, man, because we talk all the time. That's like I said, that's like my brother, man. And like in the Bible, man, it says, seek first the kingdom and all will be added unto you. And so for me, I feel like I'm able to stay patient because it's like, all right, like instead of me trying to figure out, all right, Drew, how can I get this job? All right, Drew, you've been single for 3 years. Like, where my wife at? Like, dang, like, it's like, okay, no, like seek first the kingdom, like seek first God and all will be added unto you. So I feel like for me, my 2025 mantra is like, all right, like seek first, like live. You got to live it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not searching for a partner or whatever. I'm not searching for a job or a position. It's like, you know what? Like, I started off the year and I'm focusing on God and devoting my life to being in the Word and prayer and things like that. And I feel like once I do that, then the promises of God will be delivered to me. So for me, I think that's what I'm working on now, and I'm glad that you asked me that because, again, I'm working on that as we speak. You know, it's ongoing, but I felt that's literally been like my mantra is just like seek first the kingdom and all will be added to you. So that is how I've been trying to stay patient. It's just like, all right, you know what? Let's instead of asking myself, yo, bro, hey, man, like, hey, hook me up, man, put me on. Let's try to go mingle. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go to church every Sunday and I'm gonna serve and I'm gonna start my days with devotional and see what the Bible is talking about and see what God has for me first thing in the morning before I get into my day. And I feel like, you know, if I do that, then everything else will come as a result of that.
Beautiful, bro. And I think it's a lesson for myself and anybody listening, because I think there's a tendency or there's this idea that you have to be perfect to be able to speak and share your story and to give advice. But, bro, you literally just spoke to me. Everything that you just said about, I got to find a wife. I say that all the time. I'm like,
all the time.
I've been single too long, bro. Like, what's happening? Like, God,
man.
I go to this nice church and I go there. It's like, they in there.
Facts.
But it's like, and so it's so funny you say that. And then different opportunities as your followers increase, there's so many people hitting you up about this and this. And I'm just like, bro, it's so much noise. And it's so funny. Like, I spent this whole day, bro, thinking about, this brand and I got to make this type of content. I was just things that don't matter. And that's why this conversation is refreshing, because it gives me perspective in it. Because for me, I think this whole part of even content is to be able to hold up mirrors for each other to see each other's greatness.
Yeah.
That's what I hope I'm able to do for you, and you're doing that for me. But just, bro, this is just powerful to be able to share real. There's so much, this followers and you did this. Bro, it does not matter, bro. It does not matter. It does not matter. And I say this because, bro, if I go to my inbox right now and there's people with real stories speaking on real pain they experienced, I'm like, dang, like, thank you, God, that I have the opportunity to speak to people. But then there's the weight that I feel that in the morning, I'm early at 6 a.m., I'm reading, I'm writing, and I feel like it's in my strength, but it's in his strength. And I cast all my cares unto him because he cares for me. And like you said, I seek first, and all will be added. Yeah. All the opportunities, everything else will be added. He gives you the ability to create wealth. Yeah. I got to do this job and mosey up and kiss up to this person. Because no, God gives us the ability to create wealth.
Yes.
So when it's time, when I'm focused, he blesses the works of my hands. He also watches over his word to perform his word. And as I speak his word out of my mouth, whatsoever I desire when I pray, believe that I receive, I will have. Hey. He came to give me an abundant life as I speak that out. And there's so many scriptures I speak over my life every single day. He honors his word. Yeah. There's a lot of times we over here, we're stressing, dang, I want this girl, dang, I want this, and we just stressing. Boy, I'm like David, bro. You speak to that voice. Yeah. You speak to yourself. David spoke to his soul. And that's why on the balcony I make the videos. For those that don't know, I make videos screaming A lot of times that's for me. And literally today I found myself listening like, dang, okay, this is probably why people listen to this. Like, I needed that today.
Yeah.
And so there's a power behind what you say during the times where you're struggling. And just one, you able to have a long form thing like this to share your story, but two, being able to speak yourself. For me on a short form platform, it's everything, bro, to speak to that voice. Because I always say this: there's a mind belief, the negative voice, the inner critic, the limiting belief, whether it's from your childhood, whether it's from tough times, whether it's from your community, what you saw that people, oh, they like this, let me shrink. There's this voice from our childhood that tells us that we have to show up in a certain way. But that is not what God said.
Yeah.
He had a plan before time, before you were in your mama's womb. He knew you.
Yep.
And he has a plan for you. Because it's so powerful, because you are here on earth at the time that you are, that means he has a plan that's bigger than what you can think, see, or imagine. He has a plan for your life because you have a pump and pulse. And it's like, I try to implore this and like beat this down people's head that I talk to. It's like, if you have a desire right now that you want to do, that you want to go through and you want to do it, you are really working for it, do it.
Yeah.
Like what you just said, he's like, he honors the desires of your heart. He didn't say his heart for you. No, your heart. Otherwise, if he wanted to honor the desires he had for you, he would have made you like the animal, like the dog that don't got free will. Like, here you go, boy, do what you do. Yeah. He gave you a free will and he gave you that desires. As long as you're walking in the light of his word, go after it. And it's another thing. It's like, oh, not because I'm walking in the light of his word, everything's going to be smooth. No, the Bible said the afflictions of the righteous are many, but he delivers us out of them all. Yeah. Like he's with you in it. Yeah. And like you said, he's teaching you lessons every day while you're in it. And I know for me, one of them is definitely the pride thing. But just long story short, I get on these rants because it's passionate what we're talking about. Like outside looking in, I'm always doing this for myself, like when I'm hard on myself, because I'm very hard. But it's like, bro, we're two black men, young black men that could be doing this, could be talking about this, could be talking about girls and all that don't matter. We could be talking about all this. But we choose to expand the kingdom, to speak the kingdom, to obviously, if you believe, obviously the Spirit of the Lord is within me and you work, you know God is on your side. That's why it demands excellence out of you, because anything less of that is disrespectful to what God placed in you. Yep. And so when you see this and you doing things like that, you're inspired by, and you're taking a chance. I'm always inspired by it to jump on, because it's like, okay, thank you. Finally, somebody speak my language. Yeah. So thank you, bro. I love these conversations because it's genuine, it's real, and it's rooted in truth, and it's rooted in a real foundation. It's not on numbers and highlights, bro. We've done all that. That's not life. Yeah. Because when you meet life, you gonna be like that's not life. I can ramble.
To get real,
bro.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think one more thing I want to say on this topic, man, is that like I literally had to pull up one of some notes from one of the sermons that I had recently that you talked about, like, because I feel like a lot of people talk about this thing. All right, man, like, I got this dream. I want to work. I got to put in the work, and I got to get there. I got to grind. And this is what I took down. This is what my pastor said, man. He said, God can do more with your 90% that's blessed than you can with your 100% that isn't blessed. So a lot of times it's like people think that they're just gonna grind their way into a miracle. It's like, bro, no. Like, if you just put your hands up, like relinquish your hands from whatever you're holding like this, and let God come into that passion, that project, whatever it is that you're working on. Like, he can do more like this than you thinking. You can't muscle your way to a win. You can't muscle your way to a blessing. You can't muscle and grind your way to a miracle. Only God can do that. And it's like, once you let God into that and you relinquish it, people have their blessings in their hand like this, like a closed fist is clenched like this. You're holding it, squeezing it. I gotta work. And it's like, once you just do this and you open your hand and you let it go and you give it to God and you let him come into your space, and it's like, yo, that's when you'll see breakthrough, and you'll see things that you've never been able to see before, And I think that a lot of times that's one of the main takeaways I've kind of gotten recently, man, that people just, I feel like, miss a lot of times, when it's like this, 2025, man, it's grind culture. It's grind culture. So I got da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, listen, man, like, if you give it to God and you really put your passion and your trust in that, then relinquish it, man. And I think that'll help a lot of people with just being patient, waiting on the Lord, you know what I mean? And I think people will be surprised with what can happen in their life, you know what I mean?
And I think it's powerful what you just said, because even everybody, even as a believer, the battle is in the mind. It's a mental battle, and it's a constant renewing of your mind. Be thee transformed by the renewal of your mind. And the only way you can do that is not on, oh, I got to get this job. Oh, I got to listen to this book and this book and this worldly wisdom book. It's by the word of God and getting into understand, invite God into your conversation, into your day. Like, what does God have to say about this? What does God have to say about my doubts and my fears and everything? Because, I know he didn't come to give me a spirit of fear. He gave me power, love, and a sound mind. If anything is spirit of fear, if it's doubt, if it's anxiety, if it's worry, if it's stress, anger, that didn't come from God. If it's confusion, that didn't come from God. What does God say? And even me to this day, like, it's a daily thing. You speak to the voice. If you wake up all negative and, man, like, everything on the outside, the followers, everything is growing. Like, but why do I still feel like this? Again, I always say this because it's the truth. We are spirits. We have souls. We live in bodies. Our soul is our mind, will, and our emotion. We are spirits, first and foremost. And so a lot of these things are spiritual attacks. And for me, I stay armed and dangerous with his words. I pray, I speak in tongues, all of that. Because for me, he that speaketh in a tongue edifies himself. I fortify myself. And if you know that you're a light, which you are light in this world. And the enemy can recognize that you're a light. And so it's like to stay dangerous. It's not just, we're going to do this because we love God. No. As soon as you say, yes, world, I'm going to live for God and do it for God, Satan see it too. And they're going to come after you harder with temptations and all that. And so it's like, okay, the proving of your faith is not to God. Proving of your faith to you produces patience, endurance, a courageous endurance that defies evil. That's what the word says. So it's like, it's proving it. Okay, I can do this. I've done that. Like, nice try.
Yep.
Nice try.
Yep.
I got the word.
Yep.
And so it's a daily mind thing. It's a mind thing. And the more that you know, I always, because I'm into psychology and philosophy, but sometimes it gets too deep on the whole stoicism, all that, and worldly wisdom. I'm like, bro, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. So when you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and when you say safety, food, they didn't place God there. That's the first foundation.
Yeah.
And he gives you water that you'll never thirst when you drink from.
Yeah.
That's the first. That's the foundation. And so I'm saying that because we find ourselves in these moments where I talked about my story, you talked about a little bit about your story, and you can be from the outside the best that you've ever been, and there's still like an emptiness, restless feeling. It's because the connection, the relationship with God ain't strong.
Yeah.
When it's strong there, all the other things can look in shambles, but when you know and you have faith and you see through the eyes of faith, you're able to produce content like you're doing and pour it into people's lives. So it's powerful, man, and it all starts and ends with God, bro.
Yeah. 100%, man. This is such a refreshing conversation. So I definitely am appreciating this. I want to ask you though, man, like about when it comes to your career, right? Obviously you did the, Exhibit 10 with Phoenix, you know what I mean? You did the G League, you did overseas, right? Like, how did you come to terms with making that decision to go into the next aspect of your career? Like, how did you know when it was time to, give up hoop? It's a thing that you poured your life into back in, when you were in Texas, right? Like, I feel like every hooper has a different moment when it's like, oh, okay, I know it's time to kind of make that move.
It's such a great question because I played, and when I came back from Germany, it's funny because the NBPA, they hit me in my inbox as soon as I came back. And while I came back and I started a podcast, but they hit me and they were like, okay, are you ready for a new career challenge? I ended up, long story short, getting this job with Amazon. I worked corporate sales, 6-figure job. It was nice. And so I did that along with the podcast. And I was on these G League teams. I was first with the Motor City Cruise. Then I went to Greensboro Swarm, back with Greensboro Swarm. Then I went to Texas Legends. I did all that, and I kind of adapted my role to mainly my time with Greensboro Swarm was really like a coach to the younger guys like a Mark Williams, a Kai Jones, and all those guys that came down. We really got close with the development. And I'm saying that because I found it's weird. It's like I experienced, like all players, the politics of the game. And I found myself I always loved the side of basketball where it's like leadership and you're speaking and you're real engaged with that kind of sports community. If I'm honest, I'm lacking that now. And I don't know, it's like I always say I haven't really canceled and said I'm done with basketball, but obviously like with the things that I'm doing and it's moving that way. But to answer your question, there was a day where I think it was after I played with the Texas Legends, and I had signed a deal with doing this live podcast series with my university at Texas Tech. And I was just like, I think this is the season where I'm supposed to lean into this and see what it can be, because I was juggling all these different things. At the time, I had left Amazon, and so it's just the podcast. But I'm like, God, there's something here. And this was before even the content. There's something here. After I have these conversations, I know there's something here. I know there's something here. And it's really just a faith. Like, I know that there's something here. And I know during my story, I know I'm ADD. I jump around everywhere. But I always have these moments where I know there's something here. When I went, the one that I can think of now is 2013. My brother goes to Texas Tech. All my friends, they go to their colleges. I'm like, bro, where am I going? Like, I'm going to prep school. I have no idea what this is going to go into, but I know that like there's something here. Like, I know there's something here. And even a month later, that month out of signing day, I had nothing. I know there's something here. Long story short, go to Texas Tech. I end up starting. And I say that to fast forward now. It's like the unknown. There's no certainty of, oh, this contract, this team. But I just know when you do it, there's like a knowing. And for me, it's my relationship with God really is like, nah, this is a knowing. There's something here. And so last year, I remember it was funny. It was like around November, December last year, I really was like, okay, I know I kind of want to do this. I want to do the content thing, but I don't really know how to capture it. I was in like this film school at NYU learning cinematography online, all these different things. I had just finished a live podcast series where every home game of the football games, I would do it on this stage outside of our stadium at Texas Tech. And so I did these live shows where I'd fly in every week and fly out. And so it was coming at the end of that. And I was like, okay, I kind of want to do this. I want to do more of these type of things. And so I was learning cinematography and all these things. I end up hitting this guy up on Instagram, and I was just like, bro, I love your cinematography. If you're in the area, boom, 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 let's talk, whatever. We meet up at this park that's by my gym, actually. And he records a couple videos, and I'm like, bro, this is amazing. This spot is beautiful. Like, what the heck? And it just gave me an idea of, okay, let me start branching out from the content that I do, because at first it was just talking head videos. It was me and the guest, and I cut them up and put it on Instagram. And I was doing that for 3 years. I've had the podcast since 2021, and I haven't seen the traction that I wanted. So I was just like, bro, what the heck? And so, but when I went to that location, I'm like, maybe the pride, like I'm saying, like if I do something, a lot of hoopers, a lot of people need the motivation to do something. For us, it's like, we're going to do it. A lot of times it's like, okay, strategy and pivoting is our challenge, is my challenge I found.
Right.
And so going there, it was a God thing. He told me to go there with him to show me, okay, I can do it differently. And so from November to April, I was doing different events. I went to All-Star Game. I went to South by Southwest trying to get the word out, just speaking. And in April, after the gym, I go to Lifetime Fitness. I was like, okay, let me just come to this little spot, this little park 5 minutes away from the gym. And I'm like, oh, wait, it's actually really beautiful out now, because it wasn't as green as it was before. And now I'm learning about cinematography and how, like, the leading lines, it draws a viewer in. And then, okay, there's a contrast in the background, and this would be dope. Let me set up my camera and just talk my thoughts, because on that day, I'm like, bro, I just want to ramble. And so I ended up recording that, coming home, editing it, posting it. and that post got like 1 million views. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And so I just start doubling down. And from there, it's funny, I really started gaining traction in like June. So
of last year?
I had, yeah. And it's like, I had a podcast for 3 years, bro, and I had like 900 followers.
Yeah.
And on my personal page, I had like 9,000. And so you go now to where I have on my page, I think it's 106,000, and my personal page is like 118, something like that. And it's basically a span of 6 months after the initial time that I was like, okay, I can really do this. I'm saying all this to say a lot of times you get that vision, you get that word like, okay, there's something there, but there's a way that you don't see nothing from what you know inside of you. I'm like, bro, like I know, I've never been so certain before. Like I know there's something here, bro. And I would look and I'll still be posting every day and I'd be like 900 something followers. But I'm like, bro, I know. And so even from then to like the 6 or whatever months later, to finally me seeing like a big video, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. It's the faith that does it. And even to this day, it's like, okay, I thought when you hit a certain amount, brands just start coming and all these different things. And for me, I'm having to learn like the business of it of, okay, I got to reach out because the type of content I make is kind of challenging. All these things, all that to say, whatever you want to do, bro, is to do it and because right now my whole challenge is YouTube, is doing it, seeing the reps. And I'm glad I'm speaking this out because it's helping me. It's like the reps help me get there. It helps you fine tune your skills. And I said all last year and even now was my season of skill acquisition. Well, is it editing? Is it communicating? Is it being able to tell my story? Because right now it's still being able to tell my story because I ramble. I want to be able to tell it in a way that people understand it.
Yeah.
But all that to say, a lot of times we want to get there. But especially for us, like transitioning from a whole other field, a whole industry, it's like, yeah, we have a ton of transferable skills and it helped me in the corporate sector and all these things. But it's about building the skills and improving and allowing the faith to see it way farther than we can see. Like you said, releasing, he does exceedingly abundantly beyond we can ask or think. And so if we can even think it, if we can imagine it, it's too small. It's way too small. And so that's kind of the season. I'm glad that you asked that because this transition has not been okay, I'm going to do this and this. I didn't know. I had no idea. And still when people ask me, I'm like, I hoop every day. I still work out every single day. And so it's like, that's who I am. So I don't know, but I know that God has something with the gift that he's placed in me. That's what I would say, honestly, for everybody listening and for myself. I know God gave, and he gave you the ability, a gift, a talent inside of you uniquely. And a lot of times you can't see that, but if you're introspective, you have introspective moments, self-reflective moments to where, what do people come to me for? Is it a word? Is it a song? Is it a laugh? That's your gift. Your friends will tell you what you're gifted in because they always come to you. I always found myself talking to this person and giving them advice and almost being the mean guy sometimes because it's like, nah, what we doing? Like, what we ain't. But that's the gift. I believe he gave me a gift to encourage, to speak.
Yep.
You have a gift as well, and those listening have a gift as well. It's those moments, like you said, in overseas, to look at, okay, what is the gift that I have? To see yourself clearly, to begin to build whatever you want to build off the gift that you inherently have. And the good thing about a God gift, if he gave you the gift, he also gave you the capacity to fulfill the gift and to show the gift and to share the gift. And so it always encourages me to speak to people like you that get that and that are going with that. And on the outside, it looks like, oh, he's trying to. No, I'm not trying to do nothing. I'm doing. And I have supernatural power pushing me to do it. So, yeah.
Facts. So let me ask you this. Like you say you still work out every day and everything. Do you still want to hoop? Like if a job comes, we're like, hey, man, we got a job for you. Hey, what you want to do?
That all the time, bro. I would say no because I still know, like, bro, when I get on my phone, and you have all these people saying, man, this impacted my life. I'm in tears. Bro, I know that I got something here that I got to be able to work with different people to help. And I love it, too, to serve people. So I know it's like, it's bigger than what I see. And so to answer that question, it's like, no, because I know basketball and it serves, and people, you're able to inspire people. You're serving a community. Maybe it's relief, and there's way more that basketball does as a service. It teaches us gifts, but I know that we're here to serve our gifts to the world, and I think, and I know I finally found something that, for me personally, I can serve my gift to the world, and so my agent asks me that all the time, and I'm just like, bro, like, nah, and even overseas, it's, and the G League, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Fair enough. So I'm glad you kind of touched on it a little bit, man, because I was going to ask you about that, man. Like, your content is very, like you off the balcony, like, you talking, it's like, it's unique. I've never seen nothing like it before, man, but it lands, though. And I see you, now you're talking about it, but I'm like, okay, you got the leading line in there, you know what I mean, with the guardrail, the scenery. So I kind of want to ask you a little more, like, how you came up with that? Like, is that at the park you're talking about? Because I always thought, I'm like, dang, is bro at his house? He just live out here in the wilderness?
Yeah.
Like,
people always think it's funny. My house, my parents, humbly, they have a like an 8,000 square foot house. It's a nice house, and it has a balcony. But that's at a nature preserve, and it's a public place. So, bro, when I'm doing these videos, people walk up. I'm like, all right, what's good? Like, yeah. And I'm screaming there. Like,
yeah.
And so some people stop and watch, and it's actually cool because it's a lesson for myself. Whatever you want to do, this is you doing it. And it helped me. It helped prepare and rep. And I go out there and I just share my thoughts because I don't know how people do this whole scripted thing and teleprompter. It's cool for some people. It works. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Till this day, every episode, every video, unscripted, because for me, my unique value proposition is being able to showcase a real person stumbling at all. I got a broken tooth. I talk crazy, like showing the real.
Yeah.
I always say I'm giving you permission to be yourself, because a lot of people feel like they got to come on here nah, bro. That's tiring. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And so me practicing out there in front of people, it helps me, like, okay, like, bro, I'm doing this. I know you got something behind closed doors too. So yeah, I do it at this. I found that I like, without even knowing, I like the outdoors. I like nature preserves. There's also like this bridge by my house. It's like a nice park that I do one out there. And I'm really trying to branch out into other things that I like, because I like fashion. And just the ability to showcase more of myself is kind of what I'm turning to, but while still providing value in what I share. So
yeah. So how'd you get over that? I won't call it stage fright, but I feel like when you first start recording in public and people see you, you're like, oh, dang, like, how do you get over that part? Because I feel like I'm still trying to, like, I vlog and all that kind of stuff. I'm still trying to get over, like, pulling that camera out in public, and people look at you crazy, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's a little bit easier if you're in like a New York, or even it's a little bit easier out here in LA because everybody's kind of like content creators or influencers or whatever, so everybody will set their camera up and stuff like that. But I imagine in Texas it's probably a little bit different. People probably look at you like, what's this dude doing with his camera out? You know what I mean? So how do you get over that? You know what I mean? Like, is it just...
Great question. I'll say this. I'll say, one, it never gets... not weird, but it gets normal. You get used to it, but it's kind of like there's one day, and as a person, extroverted, I've never been shy. That's kind of my disposition. But one day I told myself, because one day I did feel it. I'm like, bro, I don't even feel, because some days I know I got a lot to say, and I know whatever I'm gonna say, it's gonna, it's me.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, bro, I don't even know what to. On those days is when I get in my head like, bro, there's people around, all these. But then there's one day I had to sit there and I talk to myself. I'm like, bro, it's almost weird. This is your job. It's like hooping.
Yeah.
There's people around. If they come, I was like, they watching me at work. Do I sit there and watch you at work and be like, do I worry? No.
Right.
As you hoop, you don't worry about like, dang, no, you're locked in. And for me, I always go with the impression of, one, getting something off my chest, and two, speaking to somebody in a tough time. And so if I'm really speaking on, I don't care who watched, like, you can be affected. There was actually a couple that was like, dang, like that really touched me as they were walking, because it's like, yeah, like I'm speaking about real things. And to answer that question is just, one, it's weird. Sometimes I'm like, if I had a kid, if I had a wife, which I'm want to be a husband and a father, would I care about some little kid or people watching me at work? No.
Right.
Like, you watching somebody at work. So why? it's a faith thing. You see what you are before you are. Like, you see it. And so it's like, bro, I'm not going to let any external, any outside thing stop me from the vision that God placed inside of me. Because I know there's going to be people today, and who cares? If y'all scoot over, I'm going to speak right here. And if it's too loud, you going to leave. And so, no, that always helps me knowing that, one, the reps. I think everything gets easier with reps. But two, with your mindset focus on what you're trying to accomplish, it always helps me push past that.
Yeah, nah, for sure. That's dope, man. Like I said, I'll be watching from afar. I'm like, dang, bro got something that's very unique and creative, man. So I'm glad I'm getting to hear kind of like the backstory to it, because I feel like that's awesome. What do you feel like is something that, like, where do you want to take this? Where do you feel like is next for you as far as content? Like, when you think about, all right, man, all right, cool. So, like you mentioned before, you didn't necessarily have a plan. It was kind of, all right, I'm just kind of talking, kind of transitioned. I know before I saw on your Instagram, like, you were doing like an NBA PA, like, broadcasting thing before you got into the content. Like, where do you have now, it's 2025, like, where do you kind of want to take this content space? I know you mentioned YouTube a little bit, but, you know, what would you say is kind of next, and some, I guess, aspirations that you have for yourself?
Man, you know, it's so challenging for me to set goals, because almost it's weird. And I feel like almost in a different way of thinking, people that didn't play sports, and they almost have an advantage, in my opinion, because it's like, you've been wanting this one thing to be this actress all your life.
Yeah.
But when the bullseye is hoops, you don't know what the bullseye is no more, because, like, you were groomed from childhood to want this to be the bullseye. So now it's like, bro, I don't know.
Yeah.
But to answer that question, that's when it's cool to start saying yes to more things, to see, okay, I like that, I didn't like that. I like that, I didn't like that. I did a broadcaster U program with the NBPA, and I ended up, at first I was like, I'm not going. And then I went, and I loved it, bro. Being behind the camera and speaking my thoughts and sharing and it was just dope.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I actually like media. And I did, like, I've done live shows a bunch. This second year I did it with Texas Tech. I was like, dang, the vision to impact people in real time is powerful. And again, it goes back to tying me for this year, is tying, like, the gift that God gave me to speak and encourage with people. I'm a people person. As much as I can do that in different spaces and impact on real conversations, I love that. For this year, I've really been focused on, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know what partners, but doing in-person events to be able to speak on topics and house and create safe spaces for people to be able to share. Even like this is dope. Like, like, to see two brothers, like, talk, like, this is real. I want to be able to do that at scale. When it comes to the content, I know I like entertainment, media and entertainment, just working with creators and businesses that see the value in creating content from who you are and what you actually do. Yep. I love fashion. Somebody hit me up that I met at All-Star Game last year about Paris Fashion Week, and she said something about it today. I'm like, dang, I would love to do that, but I don't know how it goes, so I do, like, freelance modeling. All that to say, bro, I don't know. Again, business, I like business as well, and being able to take what I'm doing and the live shows that I've done and creating space for ex-athletes and just to build something, because we have so many transferable skills that if we only knew the jargon that people use to be able to communicate it would be able to be helpful and insightful for whatever corporation or people that will hear us. So I don't know. I'm passionate about people that look like us, to be able to be in spaces where we feel like, okay, I don't need this game. I need who I am. And I have talents and skills inside of me uniquely. And so to answer your question, the bullseye, a lot of people say, I want to be a doctor of this. I don't know. I want to be able to serve people from the gifts that I have and let God take the rest. So
yeah. Hey, you know what, man? That's an incredible answer, though, because I feel like for me, I tell people that all the time, man. I wake up one day, I'm like, I'm still playing, you know what I mean? I'm still hooping, but, like, I got this podcast going. I'm doing content. I also work as a social media producer on this NBA show for FanDuel. But I'm just trying to insert now, trying to start modeling and, like, getting into the fashion space. Like, I'd be waking up some days, I'd be like, dang, bro, I want to act. It would be dope to be an actor. Like, I just love creative things, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I just don't know where life is going to take me, but it's like, I don't think you have to limit yourself to one thing, man. I'm about to be a hooper, model, content creator, actor. Period. Like all the
Same.
above.
I agree, bro. I agree, and I'm almost like I've always wanted to move to LA, and I don't know what that looks like. I was gonna ask you, how did you even end up out there?
Man, that's a great question, bro. So honestly, bro, so I kind of fell into it because I don't know if you met him at All Star Weekend, but he was with me. I don't know. His name is Isaiah Eisendorf. He's a light skinned dude. He's same height as me, but he plays overseas too. He plays in Israel. So we went to high school together back in Maryland, and his mom, his mom and her husband, they have like a house in L.A. and a house in Maryland. So like again, we're all from Maryland, but like he'll kind of go back and forth between Maryland and L.A. because his mom will kind of go back and forth between Maryland and L.A. So luckily enough, bro, like they got a crib out here. My twin brother was working for the Clippers, not last year, the year before last. So I came back from Japan, and I had like 6 weeks in between when I left Japan and before I was going to go back to Japan. And I was like, man, listen, Japan, when you fly, it's a lot closer to come to LA as opposed to, because you go on like Japan, Hawaii, LA. I would have to get off at LAX and then fly across the country 6 more hours to go to DC. I'm like, man, I got to go back in 6 weeks, man. I ain't about to do that. I'm about to go to LA. I've never been. And when I was in high school and college, I always wanted to go to LA because I always knew I had this kind of creative juices in me. And I was like, maybe one day type of thing. But literally when my brother was with the Clippers, I was like, oh, bet. It's the perfect reason to go out there. Like Isaiah and his mom, they got a crib out there where they let me, thank God they let me crash on the couch, got an extra room. So I just came out there when he was with the Clippers, fell in love with LA, and then I went back to Japan, went to Australia. When I came back from Australia, I was like, I'm going to LA. Like I'm planning myself there. I know that when I'm done with basketball, I kind of want to get into the creation space, and I just planted myself out here, bro. And I kind of been breadcrumbing it. So I did the 6 weeks when I came back from Japan. Then I came out here last year for 2 weeks around Christmas, New Year's, and then this year I've been here for like about 5 months. It'll be so far, and it's been great, man. Like I think the one thing about LA, bro, is that just opportunities, bro. You know what I mean? Like we have talent, and we've been doing the podcast. I've been doing a podcast from Maryland. I was doing a podcast from overseas, Connecticut. I've been doing it all around the world. But it's like you come out here, and it's like, okay, now you can be able to get a studio. Okay, I was able to get a job working for this FanDuel NBA show, and it's 5 minutes from my house. I could walk there. You know what I mean? It's just you just fall on the opportunity just being here. You know what I mean? And so it's like I feel like for so long we've all had this skill set and this talent that maybe like it just being here just allows you to give it legs, and now you can get in the room with people. You know what I mean? So I can shake hands with people that I can get on the podcast just by being at a dinner with somebody. And it's like, okay, or I go to a Clippers game, I get a credential, I walk the baseline, and I'm seeing people. It's like, oh, what's up, bro? And now they're putting a face to the name. It's like, oh, I seen your podcast, bro. I seen your episode with so and so. Dang, I didn't know that was you. Bet, like, you know what I mean? That's really what it is. You know what I mean? And I feel like people get caught up in the hype. Oh, LA. It's like I wouldn't even get into that, bro. It's more so just like you just putting yourself in the room. Like when you come to LA, you're in the room. So after that, it's your world. You know what I mean? So I would recommend anybody. Nah, man, listen, I would recommend anybody that's like that wants to do this stuff, man, to just take the jump, take the leap, man. Like it's expensive out here, so you might gotta like get a roommate, sleep on somebody's couch, or figure that out. But like if you could do that and you can figure out a way to manage that, it's like opportunities are endless. You know what I mean? I love it, bro. The weather is great. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
That's the next step for me, bro. Just seeing how it could be at least, because you asked me what's next. I want to do things with people. I'm extroverted, bro, and just to be able to. I went to my parents' house, and I know humbly it's a beautiful experience to be able to not pay a dime, be in a huge house, have a space to where I'm locked in with God and everything. But I know that there's a stage where I got to actually share and to see what it could be differently.
100%.
And I've been in spaces already, and that's inspiring. So
100%. Hey, man, you know what's funny, man? I'm glad just like having this conversation with you because I feel like I see your videos and I'm like, dang, I wonder if bro really like you really talk like that though, like the passion, like the way you repeat stuff, like you really that's really you. I'm like, cause you see it and you're like, dang man, I wonder if bro if it's like hard for him to get into that, but it's like that's really how you like present, and it's awesome, that's authentic and it's real, man. I could imagine you just talking that same way if you in the locker room with the teammates, you know what I mean? Just I'm
annoying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Bro, I edit and I hear myself all the time. It's funny. Trey said that. He was like, bro, you talk like your video. I'm like, yeah, it's annoying for me to hear all the time. But yeah, bro, like, it's me and I'm passionate. I just want to be able to do it with people around me, you know. So
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Well, listen, man, if you ever make that move to LA, brother, you know you got a brother right here, man. We could make something shake, man. I think everything is better in collaboration. You know, everything's better in fellowship and in teamwork. So, you know, when you make that move, you know, we're gonna speak life into it, man. I'll get you a nice church family. You know what I mean? We can get that set up. You know what I mean? And we can run it up. Yeah, we can run it up, man. We can run it up.
I'm down.
No doubt, man. So before we get out of here, man, I got a couple quick hitters, some rapid fire questions for you, man, and then we'll go on and wrap it up, man. So first one I ask you, man, if you had a movie that was made about you, what actor would you want to play you in the movie?
Yeah, bro, I'm pissed because I'm not the best movie buff. Like I need to watch more. But as a default answer, I was gonna say, who's that? Damson Idris. I like him. Smooth.
Why him?
He has the British accent. If I'm not mistaken, he might be Nigerian because I'm Nigerian. If I'm not mistaken, if he's not, oh well. But no, I just like him. I like him. I think he's an amazing actor. So
Yeah, okay. Now I know you're Nigerian. Are you Igbo, Yoruba, Edo? What are we rocking?
I'm Ed. Wow, how'd you know Edo?
I'm from
That's
Maryland,
crazy.
bro. I got real Nigerian family. Like
True, but Edo, that's impressive. Edo is like, yeah, I'm Edo. Usually people know you're about. Okay.
I'm tapped in, brother. I'm tapped in, man. Listen, you spent any
Respect.
time in DMV? You been around there before?
Bro, when we played, I've been there with a couple of G League teams, but I love DC.
Incredible.
I loved it. So bro, there's so many cultures out there, bro. Yes, I want to go back there.
Yeah.
I want to go back there. Yeah.
It's a big time Nigerian community, man. Big time Nigerian community. All right, so I mean, I know you're obviously biased to the Nigerian jollof as opposed to Ghanaian jollof. You know.
Yeah. Of course.
So-
don't even Nanja jollof. Nanja. Any Ghanaian, they're confused. They are confused.
Okay.
Jollof, Nigerian.
Now,
yes.
do you cook? Or you get down in the kitchen, man? Can you make any Nigerian dishes? I was gonna say, what's the best dish you could chef up, man?
A rice and stew I can make. It's so funny because literally today I was on Amazon and I'm trying to brand deals with like meal prep things. I think I hate cooking in this. It just takes too long, and I only eat like these vegan protein bars. It's annoying. But to answer that question, bro, I can make rice and stew, Nigerian dish, classic. That's it. But yeah, when it comes down to jollof and all those things like pounded yam, I ate that growing up, all that. But cooking, I'm not the best. In Germany, I had to really learn because I'm vegan, so tofu and all these different things.
Wow.
Bro. Yeah.
Sheesh,
It's
okay.
annoying, bro.
I about to say, how is that trying to hoop?
A
feel
lot
like-
of supplements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Interesting. How long have you been vegan for?
Bro, I've been vegan for like 4 years.
Dang.
And so, bro, I take a boatload of supplements in the morning, and then after my workouts, and it's annoying. And literally today, I was asking ChatGPT like trying to help me with my diet and everything because it's like, bro, you gotta actually have to grow up and not just eat protein bars and protein powder for lunch, dinner, and everything. Like my diet is very boring.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to incorporate actual meals and different things. So
Interesting. All right. So, what's your favorite Nigerian dish to eat? Would you say, like, if my Duke's chefing it up?
ooh, I think a classic. Ooh. I'm basic, bro. I think the jollof rice, like she made some for Christmas. Ooh, cold. And like my dad can really cook, so anything he makes. And so, man, puff. Woo. Like, yeah.
Wonderful.
Cold.
Okay, bet. Last one of the quick hitters, man. So I remember, obviously, we met at last year's All-Star Weekend. I'm pretty sure we met at Say Less, if I'm not mistaken. What was your favorite part
Say
of?
Less at?
I feel
We
like
did
it might have
meet
been Say Less. What was your favorite part of All-Star Weekend? And are you going this year also? Are you planning on making it out there to the Bay?
Bro, I was just thinking about this during this talk, bro. I want to do something live there. So if we could do something live and like partner with somebody, I think that would be amazing.
That would be fire.
And so
might got to get that in the works.
Yeah, for real. Somebody asked me, am I going? And in my head, I plan to. San Fran is like, I feel like I got to do it now. Like get
ASAP.
all that planned out. Yeah, but yes, to answer that question, yes, I plan on going. I want to do something there and an event there. And so all that to say yes, because I think that's the basketball hub of the time. So it's important to be there.
Yeah.
But I think even for this next generation, I think literally I was going to talk to you about it. I think it'll be dope to do something live. But yeah, I want to go.
That's fire. What was your favorite part about the All-Star Weekend last year out in cold-ass Indy? The snow.
Bro, it was so cold, bro. It was, and I lost the keys to my rental car.
Oh, no.
Bro, it was so cold. But I was on the floor Saturday, the Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live, that's a whole different thing. But Saturday night, the whole event.
Yep.
One of my good friends from my high school, he's on the Colts. And it was crazy, bro. Like, C.J. Stroud had tickets, and he has the same agent. I think it's David Mulligetta. They have the same agent, and he gave him the tickets for the Saturday night thing. So, bro, I was on the floor watching the dunk contest, Steph. I was like, dang, this is kind of cool. And it's almost like God places you in these rooms not to be – because I'm not like a – bro, it's weird. Almost maybe it's pride, but years before when I was outside, I had a table, and LeBron was right there. I've been in these spaces. As you hoop, you're around all these people.
Yeah.
And so it's not like honestly, it wasn't like but that Saturday night I was around people. I'm like, dang, like God, it's almost like as I'm trying to build my content, he almost placed me there and saying, okay, like these are the rooms where you can actually proclaim my name in.
Yep.
And it goes back to, and I was there in Summer League, and I was in these spaces. There was this podcast workshop to where Vox Media came, and it was like me, Lonzo Ball, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and another player. And long story short, it was crazy, but the workshop was like them telling us how Andre Iguodala and they do their podcast for Vox Media, and they were sharing us tips and everything.
Yeah.
But we honestly had conversations of faith. There was other people, like other agents in the room, representation from teams like the Raptors and the Magic and all these things. And it was like a faith-based conversation. It was like, why aren't there activations at All-Star or Summer League, a faith-based activation? Like, why isn't there more conversations around this? Because it's a need, and guys are searching. They have chapel that guys go to.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy how God can place you in these places. And from the outside, it's like, oh, you're just glamorous. No, like, I like this stuff too, but I can actually be who I am and not fold because I'm here as well. 100%. So just the opportunity to be on the floor and just to be with different people, and that was cool for me. But it was cold, like you said.
It was. Fire, man. Well, hopefully, man, we can talk offline, man, for sure, and figure out something for this All-Star Weekend, man. I love to kind of set something up because I'm planning on being out there as well, bro. But man, this is an incredible conversation, man. And shoot, me and you both, like you said, you ramble, I ramble as well. And I could talk to you for 2 more hours on this journey, man. But we'll save it for the next podcast, man. We'll save it for All-Star Weekend. We could do it like that. But
Yes, sir.
I always end every episode, man, just wanted to give flowers, man. I just want to say, man, number one, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for giving up your time. Obviously, you could do a plethora of other things with your time, man. So, I appreciate you for coming on, having this conversation with me, man. And again, like, I think this conversation has inspired me to just continue to walk in my faith and be authentic with who I am. And I appreciate you for that, for having that conversation with me, man, and continuing to just live out your faith, actively, And so you always got a fan in me, brother, and All Facts Me and everything you do. We'll always be tapped in, man. I look forward to everything you have in store, man, with your content, your podcast, moving to LA, man. And I feel like this is going to be the beginning, of a great relationship, man. So again, thank you for coming on, man, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. It was a pleasure. And again, I always love people like you that like stand in what they want to do and they go for it and they reach out to people and they're inspired by people and they're not afraid to say it. And it's powerful and it teaches me a lesson and more so it's like, not that I don't want to do it. It's just like you get so locked in on the content and editing, you forget that this is what I love as well. And you're able to share like this has been a refreshing conversation. I have this is the best conversation of the year for sure. and so I appreciate you, bro. I love what you're doing. I love what you stand for, and just keep being the man that you are for Christ, because you're able to impact a lot of people in spaces like LA where people think, oh, it's dark, and you're able to be a light in those spaces, just you being who you are with your story that I got to learn that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so you're able to see somebody differently and just be even more inspired, man. It's everything. And that story that you have, bro, that's huge. And I don't know, I would just encourage you to share that more, because I did not know that.
Yeah.
And to see you how exactly like you said, like, bro, you're so positive, and bro, that's a powerful, that has to be God. That's why we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony, the word of our testimony. Amen. That's God. And it did something to me. So just hearing it, bro, it's powerful. And thank you for sharing it.
No, I appreciate it, man. And that's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions, just getting better at sharing that and figure out the right way I want to tell it, man. So I appreciate you for that, man. Last question we always ask our guests is, who should we have next on the What's in Your Bag podcast? But whatever you say, you got to get in your point guard bag and give us the whoop and help us get him on the show.
Ooh, I was going to say Trey, but bro. Man, I want to give you a good answer. I don't know, bro. I have no idea. That's my problem. I've been so focused on what I haven't been looking at everybody else's. Hold on. Let me really think. Bro. Ooh, what's his name? There's a lot of. I want to almost come back to you about this one if I can, because there's a lot of people when you go viral. There's a lot of people follow you that hit you up that you wouldn't expect, and I haven't looked at them. But man, I want to be able to get back to you with a good answer. So without having a great answer, I'll say Trey. Even though you know Trey.
Yeah, copy. Well, you know what? We'll table that one for All-Star Weekend, man. When I see you, I'm gonna ask you again. You know what I mean? So we'll follow it up on that. That fair?
Sir. Yep, that's fair.
Copy. All right, man. Well, all right, guys. This has been another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast. As always, like, follow, subscribe, comment, tell a friend about the good gospel going on at the What's in Your Bag podcast. Until next time, folks, deuces.
Suave. I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mental. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different route, change relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly. Now